What happens when a wheelchair athlete calmly inflates his tire and a pack of bikers decides to humiliate him? One quiet phone call turns their roaring engines into stone-cold silence, leaving every bystander stunned. I rolled up to the Sunoco on Jefferson and 12th just after sunset, arms buzzing from handing out the last of my Sunday drive lunchboxes. Nothing fancy, just hot chicken, cornbread, and a whole lot of "you're still worth something" to folks the city pretends not to see. My chair's left tire was running low, and the compressor at that station is the only one in 10 miles that does not charge $1 for air. I figured I had earned a free breath myself. The parking lot looked like somebody spilled a jar of chrome bolts. 6 motorcycles, each louder than a sermon on Easter, idling in a half circle right across the handicap stripes. Their riders, white leather, tattooed arms, beer bottle laughter, were busy admiring one another's exhaust pipes. I could smell the gasoline and ego from 50 feet away. Still, I eased past because that is what you do when you have places to be and a spine held together by titanium. I popped the air hose cap and started filling my tire. Then a voice thicker than used motor oil barked behind me. "Hey, Wheels, you parking or building a lemonade stand?" I turned just in time to see the tallest of the bunch. Blonde ponytail, an eagle tattoo stretching over his neck. Kick one of my leftover lunch boxes. Food splattered across the pavement like confetti nobody asked for. The man smirked, clearly proud of his aim. Now I am a patient fellow. Spent 3 tours learning the art of breathing through nonsense. I gave him my best Sunday school smile. That meal was headed for a hungry stomach. "You hungry, brother? 'Cause I charge extra for attitude." Ponytail chuckled and stepped closer. His buddies formed a half moon, cell phones out, recording what they thought would be comedy gold. One of them revved his bike, trying to drown me out. The vibration rattled my chair frame. I felt it in the bolts of my back brace. "You should charge for jokes, old man," Ponytail said. "What's it like racing snails all day?" I could have lectured him on spinal injuries in the Paralympic time trial, but he was not after education. He was after spectacle. So I reached into my jacket, pulled out my phone, and dialed a number I saved for rainy days and arrogant fools. Ponytail's grin widened. "Who you calling? Roadside assistance." "Something like that," I said, voice low, steady. The line clicked. Someone picked up on the first ring. I spoke 2 sentences, nothing more. Then I let the phone rest on my knee like a sleeping cat. The tallest biker leaned in, trying to read my screen. "You finished?" "'Cause we ain't." He flicked the phone with his finger. It clattered to the ground but did not break. Small mercies. Another biker nudged my front caster with a steel-toed boot, just enough to tip my balance. The chair wobbled. Cornbread crumbs skittered under my wheels. I breathed in the sharp smell of spilled gasoline and told myself not to blink first. Inside the station, the young cashier froze, eyes darting from me to the bikes as though waiting for commercial break. A couple at pump 3 chose that exact moment to remember seat belts and stared anywhere but here. Funny how justice always needs an audience, yet the audience rarely wants the job. The biker with the phone pointed his camera at my face. "Smile for TikTok, Grandpa." I gave him a smile, all right. Calm, polite, same one I wore in physical therapy the first day I stood without rails. He did not recognize the look, but he would, because my call was still running, and help, real help, moves quicker than gossip when you hit the right number. That next moment changed everything. You do not want to miss how the night flipped on its head. Stick around. What happens after this will make you rethink the word helpless. My phone lay on the pavement, screen glowing like a lighthouse nobody bothered to see. Ponytail rested his boot on its corner. Real casual, like he was guarding a good cigar. The other bikers tightened their half circle, engines still rumbling in low gear, steel drums counting down. Then headlights swept the lot. A patrol car rolled in, blue strobes spinning. The young cashier inside the station nearly melted with relief, but I felt my stomach tighten. Help can wear the right uniform and still play for the wrong team. Officer Callahan stepped out, late-night coffee in hand, tan Stetson tipped back like he owned the stars. First thing he did was admire the motorcycles. "Evening, fellas. That a '76 Shovelhead?" Ponytail's grin stretched ear to ear. Yes, sir, just polishing our chrome. This gentleman, he jabbed a thumb at me, got in the way. Callahan finally glanced over. His eyes landed on my chair, then on the food splattered across my lap like abstract art. Sir, are you blocking their exit? He asked, pen already poised over a ticket pad. I raised both palms. Officer, I was filling my tire when these men knocked my lunch boxes and grabbed my phone. He sniffed, more irritated than concerned. I'll need ID. I reached into my jacket pocket, slow, deliberate, while Ponytail's buddy live-streamed every second, announcing to cyberspace that the law's got our back. Sarcasm tasted bitter on my tongue, but I served it anyway. Officer, should I show you my disability card or my war service card first? I've got a collector's set. Callahan sighed as if paperwork were my fault. He took my license, glanced at it, then returned to admiring chrome. You gentlemen planning to move along soon? Soon as the track star clears the lane, Ponytail chuckled, patting the push rim of my left wheel like it was a dog he owned. Behind him, the youngest biker, freckles, shaky hands, peeled a bumper sticker and slapped it across the back of my chair. Try walking, it's easy. Laughter broke out. Black humor is best served by the target. I answered with a thin smile. Creative. Did you print those yourself, or is there a club discount for bad taste? The kid blushed but left the sticker. Callahan saw the whole thing, adjusted his hat, and wrote nothing. Instead, he asked Ponytail, You pressing charges for obstruction? That hit like cold iron to the chest. Obstruction. I, the man in a wheelchair, obstructing 6 motorcycles and a police cruiser. Yet there it was, the system looking in a cracked mirror and calling the reflection fair. I felt heat climb my neck and memories thundered up. Nights on patrol overseas when backup never came. Same feeling now, only the streetlights were brighter and the enemy called me Sir. A car at Pump 3 honked. An older woman rolled down her window, phone in hand, filming. Her face said, Are you kidding me? But she did not step closer. Safety first, justice a distant second. Callahan cleared his throat. Let's settle this quick, sir, meaning me. If you apologize for delaying traffic, these gentlemen will let you be. Ponytail crossed his arms, waiting for my surrender like a trophy. The camera phone hovered, hungry for humiliation. I took one breath, then another. The back brace dug into my ribs, reminding me every victory carries weight. I wiped barbecue sauce from my lap, slow, steady, and spoke so only Callahan could hear. Officer, you might want to double-check your radio. He frowned, lifted the handset, and asked dispatch for an update. Static, then a crisp reply. Stand by, units en route per commander's request. Callahan's eyes narrowed. Commander? At this hour? Ponytail leaned closer. What's wrong, officer? Cat got the channel? But Callahan was already stepping away, voice lower now, the situation shifting under his boots like loose gravel. I stayed silent, hands folded, the way you sit before the conductor's baton drops. Engine still growled, sticker still mocked, camera still rolled. Yet a breeze picked up, cool, electric, like the air before a thunderclap. Every instinct I owned told me the night had turned a corner, and none of these men could see the bend. This is the climax. Everything you have been waiting for is right here. Stay tuned to watch how a single call rewrites the rules and flips the balance. The patrol car's roof lights kept spinning, but the air felt suddenly still, like every molecule out on Jefferson held its breath. Officer Callahan pressed his radio again. This time the dispatcher's tone was tight as piano wire. All units, stand by for priority arrival. Maintain scene integrity. He looked at me. Really looked. And the certainty drained from his face. That is when the rumble hit. Not the lazy growl of those motorcycles, but a disciplined convoy hum, diesel and purpose braided together. 3 matte black SUVs glided onto the lot. Their doors opened in perfect choreography, and out stepped Deputy Chief U.S. Marshal Denise Carter, 5'6" of measured power in a Navy windbreaker with gold lettering that said, in louder language than any siren, federal business. She saw me first and her eyes softened half a heartbeat, just enough for history to pass between us. Kandahar triage tent, midnight, rain leaking through canvas. Then professionalism snapped back in place. "Gentlemen," she announced, voice calibrated to carry over idling engines. "We are executing Title 18 hate crime enforcement. Turn off those bikes, hands where I can see them." Ponytail opened his mouth, but sound never made it out. The marshal's team had already stepped around him, reflective cuffs ready. His phone, still live streaming, caught the moment his swagger evaporated. The comment feed exploded. "Serves him right. About time. Where's the popcorn?" Officer Callahan tried to salvage authority. "Marshal Carter, I was just securing." She raised one gloved hand. "You have body cam footage?" He hesitated, thumb brushing the lens cover that was conveniently closed. The pause sentenced him faster than any judge. Meanwhile, the youngest biker, the kid with freckles, looked from the cuffs to my wheelchair, sticker still mocking me. His bravado collapsed into something closer to understanding. For once, the camera in his hand swung away from spectacle and toward accountability, catching his own crew in full color as the cuffs clicked. Marshal Carter gestured to a reporter stepping out of the second SUV. Live stream to local news went live. The anchor's voice crackled from car radios across the street. Suddenly, bystanders who had kept their distance felt permission to stand taller. The older woman at pump 3 left her driver's seat, walked over, and peeled that sticker off my chair with a steady hand. "Sir, my grandson uses a chair too," she said quietly. "Nobody sticks labels on dignity." I thanked her, then turned to the kid biker. "You good with cameras, right? Use that skill for something bigger than cheap laughs." He swallowed hard and nodded. Callahan's night kept unraveling. Another cruiser arrived, this one commanded by Lieutenant Vega. Internal affairs. Papers were exchanged. Callahan's badge number went into a notebook. His shoulders sagged as reality outlined consequences he never expected to meet. Marshal Carter crouched beside me. "You know you did not have to place that call. But I am glad you did," I smiled. "Sometimes the system needs a friendly nudge and a loud witness." She stood, faced the bikers, now lined against their own chrome-like showroom mannequins. "You recorded yourselves tampering with a mobility device and assaulting a decorated veteran. Federal sentencing guidelines are not as forgiving as internet comments." Their engines finally silent, the lot sounded vast. You could hear the hiss of the compressor I came for in the first place. I rolled over, filled my tire to 90 psi, and chuckled. My chair felt steady again. So did my spine. Carter's team gathered evidence. Stickers, boot prints, the battered remains of my phone. One marshal slid a brand new handset into my palm. "Courtesy of Homeland Tech Division. Waterproof, shatterproof, ignorance-proof." He winked. Before the SUVs departed, local volunteers arrived with fresh dinner trays. We lined them along the bike's empty parking slots, and folks helped themselves. A man in a mechanic's jumpsuit raised his food container like a toast. "To neighbors who show up." As the convoy pulled away, Jefferson Street looked the same. Same neon over the pumps, same cracked asphalt, but the air carried a new resonance. Justice had shown it could park anywhere, even in handicap lanes. I glanced at the kid biker, now seated on the curb, hands free but heart heavy. "Learn something tonight?" I asked. He nodded. "Yeah, wheels roll farther than fists." "Keep that on repeat," I said, tapping the side of his phone. I left the lot with my chair rolling smooth, lunchbox lids snapping shut again, and the night wind cool on my face. Sirens faded, laughter found a kinder register, and somewhere a dispatcher wrote the final code. Scene secure. The road ahead was still long, still uneven, but tonight it felt just wide enough for change, and for anyone willing to push.